Having trouble with your garage door? Problem solved. Call Direct Service Overhead Garage Door Company. We're your go-to team for garage door repair, new garage doors, openers, and more. We offer same-day service. We're always ready when you need us. Best of all, you can book your appointment online or talk to a live operator 24/7. No machines, no waiting. So whether it's a broken spring or a brand new garage door, trust the local experts at Direct Service Garage Doors. Call us today or visit directserviceoverhead.com.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tuss Talk with Ty, Monday Night Lights. Hope you guys are all doing swell. I realize I've been completely kicked out of the Arkansas algorithm on YouTube. Don't know, gonna just have to try my best to get more content out, I guess. But I do appreciate those of you who are coming through and watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Make sure you hit the notification bell. And that way you're alerted as soon as I'm live. You get the alert. Appreciate the retweets on Twitter. Remember, you can retweet the actual Tuss Talk Twitter at Tuss Talk. I would really appreciate it. I really would. As I'm trying to get through all my settings on my phone here. Okay. We got a few things to discuss tonight, rather. Of course, there's still more to be said about what happened on Saturday. Luckily, Arkansas does not play a game this week, so thank you, God. You get a little time off. I think Arkansas fans need a breather. The Razorbacks need a little breather. So, much needed, I think, for everybody. It's a bye week like you've never needed, right? So Arkansas, not a great way to finish off. Not a way to get to your midway point here and to lose that game at home. But my gosh, I don't know what the hell's going on with my phone here. Can't get the settings right. Here we go. Maybe. Okay. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, same day services, quality parts. Best in the business down in Central Arkansas. Give them a call today, or you can check out the link provided for you down below. If I could, again, we're just having some trouble here. Everything's freezing up on me. 501-244-3667 is the number to get a hold of Direct Service Overhead. Again, same-day services, quality parts, free estimates, emergency service 24/7, 365 days a year. That's what they offer. And they're the best in the business. So, again, give them a call or check out the link that is provided for you if you need some work done on your garage door, whether it's a repair or replacement. They got your back. Okay, we do have a poll up. It is pretty simple here. How many games does Arkansas win over the next 3? These basketball games, you're coming out again. You've got this nice little bye week, and you're fixing to go on the road to play Mississippi State. We know Arkansas has struggled on the road. Luckily, I love 11 a.m. tip-offs on Saturday. Love it. And then you turn around on Tuesday and you got to play LSU at LSU, 8 p.m. So, there's the trade-off, I guess. There's never solutions. There's only trade-offs. So, Mississippi State, again, 11 a.m. on the 7th. LSU, Tuesday, the 10th. And then Auburn, which will be inside Bud Walton. This will be the revenge game, whatever you want to call it. They embarrassed you at their place game, or they embarrassed you at their place. Now you need to return the favor game. I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to beat the brakes off of them like they did you in their place. But yeah, there's so much more to be said about this basketball team. But we'll pick that up here in just a second. So again, I appreciate everyone for coming through. Please share the content. So I'm so glad I didn't watch that stupid game. Yeah, no, I hear you there, Fish. And thank God this stupid ice is finally melting. Yep, it's finally starting to go away. Absolutely. Yeah. So again, the more you interact, the more you chat, the more you ask questions, answer the poll, interact with your screen, with your screen right now with this show, the more it feeds us into the algorithm. So again, we have been completely taken out of it. I don't know what the hell. I got rid of the copywritten music. I have no clue what's going on. So we're gonna have to. I don't know. We're gonna have to live with it. I guess it's kind of crazy. All this time I've done YouTube, I've never seen anything like this. Had a really good conversation with Mark Rogers about what's going on right now. Okay. This was an article. There was an article written about Caleb James. I don't know if you guys picked this up or not. This was from Hutch, Andrew Hutchinson over at Best of Arkansas Sports. He wrote this on January 27th. I saw this. Someone pointed this out to me like the day it was written and sent it to me and was like, can you believe this? And I was like, oh, we got to bring this up. This is absolutely something we got to bring up. This is crazy. Maybe not crazy. I think some people would say it's expected. Let me just read this. Caleb James transfer portal experience. Again, this is from BOAS, so I want to give them credit. Best of Arkansas Sports. Andrew Hutchinson, who does a great job. In a conversation with Best of Arkansas Sports, James's father, Adam, revealed that the Razorbacks actually tried to get Caleb to stay in Fayetteville. A few days after his son entered the portal, Adam James said he received a phone call from the new defensive line coach and defensive run game coordinator, Kenji Cotton, who had spent the previous 2 years as an assistant defensive line coach for the Miami Dolphins. He said, I watched Caleb's film, and I'm just scratching my head about why he wasn't playing here. Now, I don't know that we don't have a date on when this phone call happened. Someone, maybe it was that day when this article was written. I don't know. Trying to make sure I didn't read over the date. James recalls Cotton telling him, this kid's a stud. I raced down to the head coach's office and told him we need to keep him. Cotton was so confident in his assessment of the former 3-star recruit that he offered to pay him double of what he was making previously, which was $36,000. I mean, listen, I know we're all about hey, we need to be a little more conservative on what we're paying these kids. We can't overpay them. Here you've got a guy who's been in the NFL for a little while, and he's like, what the hell? He's on our roster, or he was on our roster, and he was making just $36,000. Now, I don't know. Maybe that was Caleb James did not produce. Okay, I actually don't know how many snaps he took last year. I'm going to pull that up really quick. He didn't produce. I got to see him in practice over the time that he was here. I'm going to be real. Nothing about him stood out. Oh my God, why is this kid not on the field? But he did hustle, and he practiced really hard. And I think in fastball, maybe it was fastball a couple of years ago. It looked like he had definitely busted up a play, and I think it might have been Otis Kirk who said he needs to see the field more. He needs to see the field more. He might be a little bit undersized in terms of his weight at the time, but he needs to see the field more. He's got the technique down. He's someone who should be getting some reps. Now I'm looking on here. Let me see here. Total snaps. I'm trying to find him on PFF just to see his snap count this year. I could have sworn. Yeah, Caleb James played just 17 total snaps. And he didn't register anything but I guess according to PFF, just one tackle off 17 snaps. So again, yeah, I mean that's not, of course, right? Just 17 snaps. And this kid's just making $36,000. Maybe it was smart. Maybe the previous staff had it right. I didn't think they were paying anybody that little because of all these huge amounts of money that we hear that some of these guys. I mean, I could tell you. I know a couple of players that were in the 3 deep that were definitely making quite a bit more than that. And they didn't see the field. And, well, they did a little bit, but, not so much the next year and, whatever. But since this has all taken place, I just didn't think anyone was making under maybe $60,000, $50,000, $60,000, maybe 50 at the very least. And this this is a conversation that I was having with someone, ironically, it was an argument that I was having with another, not a media member, but he's, don't want to say too much, but he's someone that's in the know. But, when it comes to the NIL stuff, some of that stuff is kept pretty tight. Some of it's not. Like the Taylen Green, the amount of money that Taylen Green might have been making or was making, $1 million or whatever. We knew that KJ Jefferson was making a lot of money, and he was showing up, with all these fancy things. Like, you have an idea of what these guys are getting paid. But the argument was, there's no way in hell anybody on this roster is making under 50, 60 grand. There's no way that there's no maximum and there's no minimum. And the fact that this dude was only making 36, and for the new staff to come in and be like, dude, we're going to double that. Now, I'm not suggesting that they were telling Caleb James, again, that's who we're talking about, Caleb James. I'm not suggesting that anyone was saying, oh, well, he's going to come in, he's going to be the two deep. I don't think so. I think, well, I don't know. New staff, right? New defensive line coach, new coordinator, maybe a different way of how they assess what their rotation is going to look like. We also don't know what their front six, front seven are going to look like in terms of formations and who's, how many defensive linemen they're going to run on the field. I think it's going to be quite a bit, but I also think they're going to have a multiple look up front. But Caleb James just making $36K was just, I didn't think anybody would made under. Like I said, I would have guessed 50 to 60 grand at minimum. And this dude's making, that's a teacher's salary. Is it a teacher's salary? I don't even know anymore. I know the Springdale district, I substituted in the Springdale district, not that everyone shared with me how much money they made, but I don't remember teachers. I don't know. I don't want to get into the weeds too much on that, but I think that's about a teacher's salary, maybe a little south of it now. Again, I don't know. I know there's some people in here, I'm sure, that watch this that are teachers or they're married to teachers. I just didn't think with all the money and everything that we hear about that's getting spread around, but we also heard the opposite too, though, right? They don't have the money. They don't have it, and now they do, and now they can afford to double up his salary. I don't know what to think of that. He never stood out to me, but then again, I didn't get to see him take a ton of reps, because he was oftentimes he was rotating in with the threes. And sometimes you kind of overlook some of the threes a little bit, especially if they're a little bit older and they've got a little mileage on them and they haven't broke into that two deep. You're usually focused on those two deep, especially when you're there and you don't have another writer there with you that's sharing notes with you or anything. Like, you're just kind of watching what you can. That was my case when I went to practice when I was credentialed. So he never stood out to me. I'll just say that. And that's not a bad thing. It's just that whatever. 36 grand, man. I just, man. And obviously this new staff was like, no, come on, dude. And clearly they gave the new defensive line coach the permission to give him that. And that comes from the boosted money. I think that's absolutely why they're able to do that. Because, again, Caleb James was not going to be projected as a two-deep guy. Okay, and that kind of also gives you maybe a little bit of an idea of how much they're paying some of these guys that are kind of around that level of a Caleb James, Man. Let's see. Let me. I can't shrink the poll, man. Get off my screen. The LSU. The LSU fan at my work said this was one of the few Arkansas basketball games that he's watched, so it's his fault. Oh, okay. You guys are talking about that. Okay. Well, anyways, yeah. So Caleb was offered $72,000 and turned it down. He ended up at, was it North Texas? Is that where he ended up? I had that pulled up earlier, and let me double check that. I think that's where he ended up. Caleb, I think it was definitely one of the Texas schools. Not North Texas. I'm sorry. Texas State is who I was thinking. There it is, Texas State. Yeah, so he's a Bobcat. 6'4", 275. He's from Mansfield. Produced a lot of good talent in that area. He was a part of what class was that? Yeah, 23. So he'd been here a while. So, I wish him the best. Had some pretty good offers out of high school, and I vaguely remember his recruiting. I know Baylor, from what I understood at the time, I think Baylor was a committable offer. Arizona State was in the mix. There were a couple of schools, but Arkansas was definitely, obviously, was the school that he'd end up picking. He was 6'4", 250 out of high school, and I can remember it was his red shirt freshman year, and I think he was listed at about that weight, like 6'4", 265 or something. And I thought, what the hell? Where are they lining this dude up at? I mean, they had him. I think that redshirt freshman year, I think they had him in the interior, and I don't know that he moved a whole lot from the interior. Actually, you know what? We can pull that right up. It's just so fascinating because, again, I just would not have guessed he made that little. Yeah, so 23. So he ended up with 24 total snaps in his career at Arkansas in 2 years. And they just say it's just defensive line. Wait, what the hell's BGP again on PFF? What does that mean? All the different acronyms and whatnot. Number of plays snapped. There it is. Yeah. That's right. Number of plays snaps lined up at defensive line as a defensive tackle. So yeah, like 16 of his 23. So they had him lined up over as a defensive tackle, as an interior defensive lineman, and he was undersized. I always thought that's what kept him off the field. So I don't know, maybe they had a plan for him. Appreciate everyone for hopping in. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Caleb James from a Best of Arkansas Sports article written by Andrew Hutchinson, a.k.a. Hutch, how Caleb was only making $36,000. And they offered they were going to double this cat. They were going to double him, and I'm assuming that's what he's getting at Texas State, or maybe a little more. Now, his father does go on to say playing time had a piece to do with it. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it does say here, even when doubled, such a figure was significantly less than the six-figure deals put forth from the likes of Charlotte and James Madison, which also offered better prospects of playing time. However, both schools were far from home. Now, I'm not saying – I'm sure his dad is a stand-up, honest, hand-on Bible gentleman. I don't know. Again, I always – when a parent says this, or when a relative says – even sometimes these agents, you don't know exactly what are the details. You know what I mean? Like the exact details. I'm not saying he was being dishonest at all. I don't know the guy. I have no reason to doubt. He's probably telling the truth. I think it was Otis Kirk who said he needs to be on the field more. So maybe these other schools saw that as well, and they offered him big money. Good luck to him, man. Hope he goes and kills it. Good luck to him. But on to Arkansas, right? If a third-string guy is worth $72,000, it shows you how quickly football teams could cost. Wait. Shows you how quickly a football team's cost could balloon. Yeah, like I said, it kind of gives you it's like you're getting a little peek here. You know, anytime you hear about this stuff, all of this is coming from the dad. Okay, this isn't, obviously it's not the school. You know, this is coming from the dad. So, but why would he make that up, right? Why would he make up, like, hey, he was only making $36,000 and we were offered double? I don't think he would come out and fib about that. Let's see. Oh, they're still talking. Man, oh man. Kopesky. Dude, Discord didn't send me a notification on my phone, nor did YouTube send me a notification that this was, I'm telling you, dude, that this was live. I just happened to switch to my video and I was watching it and showed you were live. I'm telling you, YouTube is just not pushing this content. They're no longer pushing the smaller channels, man. I don't want to go on this rant. This is something Voice of College Football Mark Rogers and I talked about for 45 minutes the other night. I did a recording with him. It's getting bad. It's getting real bad. I get it. It is a marketplace. It's you're going to compete against other channels, and that's fine. I've been doing this for years. Actually, it's 10-year anniversary that I started this channel, but it has only gotten worse. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? That's why you guys got to share and hit the like button. It is what it is. So Caleb James is complaining about making 72 a year. No, Kopesky. Appreciate you for listening, my friend. But no, he was not complaining, nor was his dad. His dad was simply laying out that he was making just $36,000 at Arkansas. I don't see this as them complaining at all. And this is why I don't think this was a fib. I think that this is probably accurate. I don't know. I'm telling you, the college ball has to get, when it comes to paying these kids, these young men, transparency is key, and that's what the NFL has, at least in terms of salaries, right? Players and coaches' salaries. We understand the coach's salary part of all this, but we don't know a damn thing about who's making what. And that's the part of this that's also broken. There's so many things that's messed up about college football right now, but the lack of transparency, I think it'd be a lot better if fans did know, like, okay, hey, look, here's his salary. And then you also have with that where you're laying out contracts, right? Like where you're handing out deals like they do in the NFL. You sign a 3-year deal for whatever, $5 million. And this kid's projected as a 2-deep rotation piece. And we're signing him for 2 years. Obviously, now you've got these kids that are trying to appeal for a 6th year. So maybe you could draw up a contract worth 5 years, and then he still has another year as an option somewhere. But I'm telling you, man, college football, and that's what makes these off seasons that much more brutal. I think it'd be cool if we just got this thing down to the way the NFL does it. And we're slowly heading that way, but it's just taking its damn time. I know that. Need a salary cap. I agree, Steven. I agree. Are you guys surprised at this? Like, I want your feedback on this. This is really what I want to know, because this is a pretty heated argument between me and, well, it's really 2 other people, but mostly me and one other person. I'm curious if you guys think, is $36,000 for Caleb James? Okay, a guy that played 17 snaps in his time here. I think he would have been a redshirt, junior? Is that right? Redshirt junior? Is $36,000? I mean, do you feel like, no, that's actually pretty good? That's a good deal for him? He doesn't have real world experience. Don't think he's ever held down a full-time, maybe a part-time job. I don't know. But, or do you think, like, no, hold up. He's sacrificing his body. He joined the Razorbacks, he was here. He put in his time and effort. It's not his, well, I mean, I guess it is his fault technically that he wasn't a starter, I guess. But it's not all the way his fault. He was here, and you know what? He should have made a bare minimum of, I don't know, 50, 60 grand, or 50, 60,000, like you said, Ty. I just, that was wild to me. That kind of caught me off guard. And this was, again, about a week ago when I saw this, or, the day that it was written. Hey, Ty. This is Doodle Bob. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Well, Ty, I'm glad Sam and Bobby ain't here no more. Hopefully it don't happen again. Tired of good talent sitting on the bench. Are you insinuating that Caleb James was good talent? Maybe he is, man. Maybe he's going to go to Texas State and kill it. Well, Ty, you also got to realize the previous staff was full of idiots who didn't know. Oh God, Kyle, you're on top of it, my friend. Idiots who don't know what talent or skill was. What did Megan say? She's getting 100. I'm more shocked that teachers in Arkansas only make $36,000. Megan, every state's economy is different, and Arkansas's is one of the worst. It is not good pay here. And I'm probably wrong. Hell, I know that's what it used to be, like $35,000. I'm sure it's more now. Now that I think about it, I seem to remember people talking about teacher salaries 10 years ago around that amount. So I'm sure it's more. I think we need. Let's see. I think we would need to know the market to determine if 36,000 was proper, low or high. Well, I mean, again, I'm just asking you as a fan, Steven. I'm not trying to get super deep into it. Yeah, of course. Like I said, we need the transparency as far as whether or not these kids are, whatever the market determines. I get that. But to you as a fan, when you hear that, is that just like, wow, I would have thought higher? That's all I'm asking, Steven. This is not a super deep thing. We do have a poll up if you guys haven't taken it yet. How many of the next 3 games will Arkansas win? Right now, we got a tight race here between 3 and 2. So you guys are not as disturbed by the Kentucky game as I thought you would have been. I would have thought 1 or 0 would be in the lead here. Make sure you get your vote in. How many of the next 3 games will Arkansas win? Right now, it's first place goes to 2 games at 40%. And again, I'll tell you those games at Mississippi State and at LSU. Okay? Listen, we know Arkansas has not been very good on the road, and they barely beat LSU inside Bud Walton Arena 85-81. They did go on the road, and they beat a really bad Oklahoma team 83-79, and then they lost to Kentucky. So they got their next 2 games a road, and then they got Auburn coming back for what we hope is a revenge game. For everyone coming in, make sure you like and share. Please, sharing is caring. Helps out these channels that YouTube is just spitting on our graves. Okay, someone said teacher salary is now around $50K. I thought I heard that teachers did get a pretty good raise recently. It's starting to make sense. Oklahoma's the unluckiest team I've ever seen. Fish, you ain't lying. They've had bad string of luck. You're not lying, sir. What's up, Brian Fraser? How you doing, man? Been a while since I've seen you in here. How you doing? Don't understand why the team thought that. Wait, don't understand why the team thought that loss would be necessary? I don't know. Someone said earlier today in Discord that I don't remember who said it. Was it John Oliver? No, it wasn't John Oliver. It wasn't Kyle. Maybe it was Kyle. Someone said that it was a wake-up call. And I mean, I don't want to go. We're gonna get to that in a minute, but just to Arkansas basketball. But how many wake-up calls does a team need? How many wake-up calls do you need in a year? I don't know, man. I just kind of thought they've already had their wake-up call. In fact, I think they've had like 2 or 3 before Kentucky. Okay. If you guys haven't heard, really quick, switching over to football, Gus Malzahn has retired. The Gus bus is not going to be rolling through Arkansas unless he comes out of retirement. Had you told me, I don't know, 15 years ago that he would never end up at Arkansas, a part of me at the time would have been a little surprised by that. Because the narrative was always that Gus was going to come back. And whether it was, his last stint as a head coach, the last leg that he's on. You wonder what Norvell's going to do at Florida State now. Whatever capacity, maybe he burns out and he ends up, I'm talking about then, 12, 13 years ago then. Simply because of his connection to Shiloh Christian in Springdale as well. And obviously he wanted to be a coach here, and he took the job under Nutt. And I get it that whole season was it was great on the field outside of your shellacking that you took against USC, but the rest of that year was, it was great, right? I would have been surprised then. The last several years, especially after that last little bunch of BS that I think his agent pulled over Arkansas, I would say the last 5 years, 6 years, I just didn't think he would ever come here. And listen, I'm not saying that I'm happy that he didn't or that I'm unhappy. I don't think it always just felt like either it was too good to be true at the time because he was winning as a coordinator and as a head coach. He had success, right? That's why he remained in coaching for as long as he has at this level. Even as a coordinator at Florida State. I don't know. I'm not unhappy about it. Listen, actually, I don't care. And I live in Springdale, okay? Friends some of my best friends actually were Red Dogs in high school. I was a Purple Dog. They played at Springdale. I don't care about Harbor. I don't really have any. In fact, I actually kind of get a kick out of watching Springdale when I read, whether it's just score updates on Hootens or whatever. I kind of, okay, Springdale won. Cool. I don't know if they'll ever be as good as they once were before the split between Harbor and Springdale. Well, anyways, I'm just saying, I'm not blindly loyal to the area, as many of you think. A lot of people think I'm an NWA elitist, and I am not an NWA elitist, okay? Let's just get that out of the way. Listen, I love the entire state of Arkansas, okay? I bleed Arkansas red, not just the University of Arkansas, the Razorbacks, despite the fact I never went to school there. I bleed Arkansas red. I love the entire state. I just think my odds of getting shot are far less in Northwest Arkansas compared to, other parts of the state. But I digress. Please don't send your hate mail elsewhere. I love my entire state, okay? Including the violent parts. So I don't care that Gus, there are people in Springdale that are like, oh, man, boo-hoo. He could always come out of retirement. I mean, God only knows if you get really desperate, if this Silverfield thing doesn't work out. If the Silverfield thing doesn't work out, I don't know, y'all. I may just go apply at Walmart and push carts or something. Oh man, this has got to be good. Silverfield's got to be a success story. But I don't know. Maybe you pull him out of retirement then, and we're like, oh, he did end up somehow in some capacity a Razorback again. I guess technically. So yeah, he has retired, and I don't know. Megan says, I don't believe you. NWA is elite compared to the rest of the dumpster fire called Arkansas, says Fishman, not Ty. Fishman says that. 55-19. What's up, Brady? How you doing, man? Hope all's well. Hey, by the way, if you guys really listen, YouTube's kicking my ass. All right? They're kicking my ass. If you really want to support this channel, I love that you guys are here. And, sharing is caring. Like I said earlier, signing up for Patreon is huge. That is a big deal. Whether you were once a Patreon member, right? If you want to come back and help support this channel so we can take on this stupid algorithm that's sticking its boot right up my ass, if you want to help me fight against that, supporting the channel through Patreon goes a long ways. So please consider joining Patreon. If one of my mods are in chat, if you could share that link and the Discord link as well in chat, that would be fantastic. Jelani Watkins. Oh, Angel just dropped Jelani Watkins. Shocked the track team for trying the score. Okay, so did you know for those of you that play EA College Football, I'm pretty sure he's one of the 5 fastest players on the game. His speed is insane. And they are usually a decent, not always. You look at Mike Washington's ratings and a couple other players for Arkansas. They're usually a pretty good reflection of like kind of what these guys, what their skill set might be. Of course, it's a video game. I get it. He is one of the fastest players on the game. And he's running track for Arkansas, and he's supposed to play wide receiver. Boy, it never works out both ways, does it? You can never be great at track and great at football. It's one or the other. Centennial passed up track, and now he crushed it at Oklahoma this last year. Oh, God, that makes me hurt just saying that. So, yeah. Well, Megan, he's probably not the only track guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there are plenty of other track, especially at schools like Oregon, LSU. I mean, that's where Watkins came from, right? Some of the more premier track teams in the country, which Arkansas is the best historically. But yeah, no, there are plenty of other track guys. Listen, and Centennial doesn't touch his speed. I shouldn't say doesn't touch it, but he's on the game. His speed, I think he's a little bit lower than Watkins. I'm just telling you. And if you read up on him, talk to anyone that maybe. Well, I was gonna say, if you know anyone that is either watched him play or watched his highlight, he is fast as hell. He's a complete burner. So it'd be great to see him line up at the slot and kick some ass. I don't know. David Chambers, hey Ty, love watching you, brother. But our Hogs, man, I don't want to say it, but our defense is booty cheeks. He said it. David Chambers said it. Arkansas's defense is booty cheeks. Man, if we don't get it under control, we will not make it past the first round of the tournament. David Chambers is not my burner. That is exactly, you are dead on. That might be comment. Someone pin that. Can we pin that? Let's pin this man. Pin that message. That is dead on. David Chambers, that is the comment of the evening. Thank you, sir. Him and Anthony are top 2 fastest guys on the track team. And I think he's actually faster than Anthony on the game. I'm telling you, man. Ty, I think the Senior Bowl helped Green's draft stock. Ooh, we're kind of all over the place now. Did you guys hear what Todd McShay said about Green? I looked for that clip, and I couldn't find it, and I was actually going to make it a topic tonight. McShay is all about Green. He admitted that his throwing mechanics, he's not a great passer, but apparently through practice, he's looking better. His eyes are going where they need to go. And it wasn't just Todd McShay saying that. Here's the thing, though, I'm going to tell you guys about Taylon Green, okay? And as someone who watched him practice a ton, I think I have some authority on this. He's arguably the best practice quarterback I think a lot of people has ever seen. Like, he is a phenomenal practice quarterback. He's phenomenal. Some of the best passes I've ever seen that dude throw. Not that he didn't do it in live action, because he did. But some of the best passes I've ever seen, no matter the quarterback, came from him. Again, it's when the lights come on where Taylon Green just, especially when there's pressure applied, he's just not it, man. Now, I still believe he's getting drafted. And not only do I think he's getting drafted, unless he just shits the bed at the combine, he's going to get an invite to the combine, okay? Everyone is curious what this dude does. Hopefully he participates in the 40-yard dash. I'm very curious what his 40-yard time is. Because when it comes to dual threat QBs, that's one area. Obviously, you would love to know what his act. Now, his tape will speak to itself how fast he is. And the other guy that was doing that interview with McShay said, and I saw the video, he said, we finally got to see him. Apparently, everyone at practice, all the media people want to see him run. And this guy was this other fellow. I don't know who he was. I'm assuming he might have been a former ESPN employee. I'm not really sure. Maybe he's from another network. But he said, my God, watching him, I think he said something like just smooth as a runner. And and McShay kind of interrupted him and said, yeah, it's 4 yards per stride. It's very Matt Jones-ish. I'm going to tell you what I think should happen with Green, and I might be wrong. You get him under a head coach, and people have argued, what about the Rams because of the fantastic head coach that we have there in LA and that offense, and how it could actually help someone like Taylon Green being behind someone like Stafford, assuming he comes back. I don't think he'll end up in LA, but so unless you get him in the perfect offense with a patient coach, a quarterback coach that's worked with someone raw like Taylon Green is, that might work. Like as a backup, I don't see Green as a starter. Maybe send him to Dallas. I don't know. I mean, Dak Prescott, would you like to sit a couple of years behind Dak? I mean, it's not like Dallas. I'm going to stop right there. But Pittsburgh, there's some options here. Aaron Rodgers, if he comes back to Pittsburgh. I think what he ought to do is move to wide receiver. I mean, I think he should line up at wide receiver. Now, I don't know if he played wide out in high school. Matt Jones did play a little bit of wide receiver in high school. What I remember, and I'd love to get Matt on here and talk to him about this, what I remember is schools were offering him, and I had heard Oklahoma was one of the first to offer him as a wide receiver. But he wanted to play quarterback, so Houston brought him in, whatever. I think you ought to move to wide out. And and then run the 40. And if he runs something like a 4.4, a low 4.4, high 4.3, and maybe shows in drills that he could play the position, but he's not going to. He wants to play quarterback, and that's probably what's going to happen. He's going to play quarterback. I think you ought to switch. I think you ought to move. We see guys get drafted at one position and move all the time. I think AJ Derby did it. Felipe Franks did it at Atlanta, where he moved from quarterback to tight end. So I don't know. I think he's better off as a wide receiver. Okay, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. We weren't going to talk Green, but you guys brought it up, and we did just have. We've had the Senior Bowl and everything. Last week, I heard Bo Mattingly break down how much All other sports lose money. It's insane. Nothing wrong with ending some of those sports, in my opinion. Well, they're going to be on the chopping block, Fish. Yeah, I think I read, and I don't know how accurate this is, that baseball for the first time, or maybe maybe this has been the case, and please fact check me. This might be wrong. It sounds wrong. That Arkansas baseball actually didn't cover itself. That it actually did not it didn't pay for itself. You remember Hunter Yurchek, and I think even Jeff Long used to brag about that. And I think that may have gone the opposite direction. Correct me if I'm wrong. I saw that in passing. Okay. Anyways, we're moving on for Tail and Grid. I think people want to move on. What else do we have on the? So speaking of, talking about as far as losing money, I saw an article. This was I think this was Matt Jones, a different Matt Jones, over on Arkansas. Was this ArkansasOnline.com? Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Yeah, it was by Matt Jones. U of A football ticket holders subject to reseating. Now, again, this is not brand new. This is not brand new news. I appreciate the retweet. I see you, Woo Pig Dustino. Thank you for retweeting me on Twitter, man. But this is kind of old news, but this is something I wanted to react to it again. I want to get your feedback on this. But again, this is from Matt Jones. They do a good job. They've got a podcast he does with Christina Long. They're pros over there. I highly recommend you guys read their content and watch them. The Razorback Foundation and Razorback Ticket Center are implementing a reseating plan for the University of Arkansas football games in 2026. So this is what people are mad about. According to information sent to season ticket holders this week, which would have been last week, right? When was this written? 28th. Okay. According to information sent to season ticket holders this week, all sections at Razorback Reynolds Stadium will be sold based on donation levels to the Razorback Foundation, effectively ending any grandfathered seating rates. Now, I don't know if other schools are doing this. And I hate that people are losing their spots. I hate that. I know there are people that are furious about it. I have had someone DM me just going on a rage about this. Said he's just done. I get the frustration. However, if you're grandfathered in and you're paying an extremely low rate for these tickets compared to what other schools are charging their fans, I don't know what the solution is here. This is the same. I'm pretty sure this is I know it is because they say it in this article. It's the same, or if not exact same, or close to it, strategy that they're doing with Bud Walton Arena and Baum Walker. It's where we're at, and yeah, it is a result of NIL. It's a result of the schools having to come up with this money, right? The 20 plus whatever $1 million. They got to find it somewhere. And if you're getting an extremely low rate and you've been paying for those tickets for however many years, I don't know. Maybe consider yourself blessed that you got them at that rate for as long as you did. I feel for people. Okay, that does suck, and things are getting more expensive, more and more expensive. Thank you so much for printing money, federal government. Thank you. We're loving this inflation that we're getting here. It's making everything more expensive. And also, on top of that, again, the NIL stuff and having to find this money. You got to find it somewhere. Let me read the rest of this here really quick. As we begin a new era of Razorback football, we are making some updates to ensure our seating and membership structure remains equitable. God, I hate that word. I hate that word, equitable. I know it's fair and all that, but that word lately is it's everywhere, especially from companies and corporations. Equitable and sustainable for all of our members and season ticket holders. Stated in an email that was sent to ticket holders on Monday. It will be similar plans previously undertaken for men's basketball for the 25-26 season and Arkansas baseball before the 2022 season. God, has it been that long? I thought what they did at Baum was like 2024. Damn. Before the 2022 season. The basketball overhaul last year resulted in nearly $11 million in new reoccurring donations to the Razorback Foundation and $9 million in one-time donations, Arkansas Athletic Director told the university trustees last September. Because of higher volume of available seating, Reynolds Razorback Stadium has a listed capacity of 76,412 compared to 19,200 for the Bud Walton Arena. Such a drastic spike in donation levels is not likely this time around. The Razorback Foundation has 10 donor levels, excluding an entry-level amount for young alumni, ranging from the Razorback level at $50 to $99 a year to the Broyles Matthews Diamond level at $40,000 or more per year. The foundation reported it had around 10,300 donors last January. So there you have it. I feel for people who feel like they're getting booted out, and it sucks. It's just a combination of a lot of things. Everything's more expensive. Everything's changing, and it sucks, man. I hear you, but you've got to figure this out. And before you go blaming the millionaires and billionaires, it's not their responsibility to fix Hunter Yurachek's issues. Now, I do feel like this is I don't know why this wasn't implemented a little sooner. This feels like you're chasing, you know what I mean? It feels like we're constantly chasing, like Arkansas's behind on all this stuff instead of being ahead. And that's I don't know. It's not for lack of trying now for Hunter. It's for a lack of not trying it sooner. And then maybe at that time, at those levels, and of course you adjust the levels, I guess, but it might have been a little bit cheaper. I don't know. New stadium name is Tuss Talk with Ty, says Megan. Yeah, Megan, let's make it happen, huh? Maybe they'll let us do it for a day. Gonna need a whole lot of legendary status members of Tuss Talk with Ty Patreon to make that happen. Know what I'm saying? I love that idea, though, Megan. That's cool. Rent gets raised every year. Why should you get grandfather tickets for infinity? God dang, Megan's kind of bringing smoke right now. I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, this is the nature of the beast, unfortunately. The individual that DM'd me did later kind of like, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to take it out on you. I'm just frustrated. I think that's probably a lot of people. Their first reaction is just outrage. Again, I think it would also help with the transparency side of the NIL or the paying of the players. And knowing that your damn dollar is going where it should. I mean, I know there's always that little percentage of someone in the back of their mind, like, do I even know where we had Travis Ford, the sponsor of this show, the owner of Direct Service Overhead, said something extremely similar on this very show. Said that I don't know where my money's going. I don't feel as comfortable, donating money. I don't know where the hell it's going. Maybe that's the advantage of something like Choose Arkansas. Maybe that's the advantage because they're showing you who they're giving their money to or who's joining. Maybe that's the advantage of something like that, of a Choose Arkansas. I don't know. Shout out to them. I just like to go watch a game, but I probably never will get to, but at 64, my time is running out. Whoa. Mark Rock 63. Hold on. I don't know you. But I hope and pray you're with us for a long time, my friend. Your name is Mark Rock 63, so you're not that old. If you're born in 63, I mean, you've got time, Mark Rock. I don't want to hear that talk now. All right? We're all going to live forever, damn it. I'm just kidding. We're not. A guy on message board was complaining. Oh, those good old message boards. That's why Discord is always better. I'm just kidding. There's some really great boards. I'm just kidding. Some of those paid boards is really good stuff. A guy on message board was complaining while he was paying $200 for $5,000 level tickets. Like, be happy you've gotten them this long. My God. By the beard of Zeus. That's insane. So did he admitted that he was paying $200 for 5,000 for 5K level tickets? Yeah, bro, be thankful. Praise God. Praise the good Lord. You got those seats for when you did. Good grief. I mean, so the counterpoint to this is that only the rich will be able to enjoy the games in person. And I don't think that's entirely true. They're just going to have the best seats in the house. But guess what? They would have anyways, right? They would have anyways. I've never been to Bud Baum or the football stadium. Oh, man. I've been to Barnhill. My first game ever was inside the old Barnhill Arena. I think it was actually a women's basketball game. My dad used to take me to those. Got to see Nolan coaching that arena. Well, I tell you, good memories in Barnhill. Bud Walton, got to go to games the inaugural year when they opened up Bud Walton. Even went to the old baseball stadium. I bet some of you don't even know where it was at. I got to go to a game, and in fact, my dad and I, where we were sitting, I think I was like 6. Maybe not that old, maybe 7. And my dad said, "Hey, that's Rick Schaefer down there." You can't forget a face like Rick Schaefer. Everyone knows Rick Schaefer. He's had that same bowl haircut. The old baseball stadium right there, literally right there, next to everything. And then it moved down the street, closer to my old neighborhood there, south side of Fayetteville. I went to the Citrus Bowl to see us lose a terrific Tom. Oh my gosh, that's it for me. Yeah. Yeah, I've never been to a softball game. Not at where they play now. All right. So what are we at? What's our time at? So, yeah, we got a little bit of time here. Talk about the last part, which was Arkansas basketball. Can they stop anybody? That's the title there if you look on the screen. I was looking at this. And again, I don't want you guys to I don't want anybody to lose hope, okay? Arkansas basketball is the talent on offense is off the charts. It's going to be good enough to push you through games, maybe even a game or two that you're not supposed to win. Maybe they've already won 1 or 2 of those. I don't know. I guess we'll find out when the dust settles at the end of the year. Actually, we were worse than we thought, but we did beat these guys. This is the thing that is glaring, and there's a lot. We could pick apart a lot about Arkansas basketball. Every team except 2 in the SEC has scored above their field goal, their average in terms of field goal percentage. Tennessee on the year averages 47% field goal. That's just total, scoring from the floor. They were 2% above that at 49. All right, that's not drastic, but, you're at home. It's just a game where, they're not an offensive powerhouse. They had no business shooting close to 50%. Why are they shooting this high? Well, we all know why. It is like I've complained for weeks. Before anybody was bitching about the defense, I was bitching about the defense. It's too easy to dribble drive right or to backdoor cut to the rim on Arkansas. It's too easy. They can't man up on anyone inside. They're going to get pushed out of the way, and you're going to get an easy 2 points. They can't put together back-to-back defensive stops unless if they maybe force a turnover, and then they get a stop on the following drive by the opponent. But that's so rare. How often do you see Arkansas really? How often do you see them get 3 defensive stops in a row? How often do you see that? And that's something that again that just stands out about this team defensively. People have pointed out effort, and I've said all along, yeah, there's effort, but I think, too, they just don't – I think some of them just don't know where they're at on the floor, and especially someone like you and at times Pringle. Brazil is definitely – if you want to talk about effort, there are times I just don't think he gives a damn. If he's peeling from the outside, trying to come inside and make a play, we'll see him come in and get a block, get a couple if he gets the right angle. At times it doesn't seem like the guy wants to play defense. Seems like sometimes he doesn't want to be near the perimeter, or near the post. Ewan, I can't figure him out on defense. Pringle, I can't figure out. And then when he does play good defense, he gets fouls. It's like he doesn't know how to just back off, He just can't do it. But only 2 teams all year in the SEC you've been able to hold under their average. The most embarrassing of the year is Ole Miss. Ole Miss on the year, and I get that it was at Ole Miss. Fine, fair enough. Still, pretty sure this is still their highest field goal rate. 51% against Arkansas. What's their average? 43. They are dead last in the SEC. And this was the game for me where I was like, okay, we really do have a problem here. Ole Miss is not, and I was griping before about the defense, but it was glaring against Ole Miss. Horrible. They were 31 of 61 from the floor. Again, that's 51%. They were 8 of 26 outside. Just 31% from outside, which is, whatever. But then they were, 81% at the free throw line, which made this game interesting. Auburn, another team, they 46% on average. They shot 57%. Eventually, this is just not, they just had a good night. No, this is back-to-back Ole Miss and Auburn where you're getting they're just scoring at will. Almost 50, it's like 57.9% is what they shot. That is embarrassing. They averaged 46. They shot 11% higher than their average. And that's not off a low shot count. That's 60 attempts. They were 34 of 60 against Arkansas. I think the only team they held at their average, exactly at their average, was South Carolina, who shot 44%, and that's what they did against Arkansas. And that's a fine number. That's fine. Okay, cool. You can live with that. It's just too many times is Arkansas. Georgia shot their average. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Georgia did shoot their average at 46. Vandy had a terrible game. Vandy is about the only game this year where we held an opponent below. Again, far below their average. They averaged 48%. They shot 38%. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of their shots just weren't dropping. It wasn't anything Arkansas was doing defensively. LSU, that was the other school that you held below their average. They're 48%. You held them to 46. But everybody else either shot. Good God, I got this all wrong. Oklahoma did shoot 46. I thought it was 47. That's their average. So it's 3 teams at their average. But you get the point that I'm trying to make. They can't stop anybody. Kentucky shoots 46% this year. 46. That's not very good. It's not terrible, but it's not very good. They shot 54, almost 55% at Bud Walton Arena. They can't stop anybody. And it's so embarrassing that they're this level of bad on defense. And I think it could be fixable, but it's like it is going to take the thing that some of you have griped the most about, which is effort, but it's also going to have to it's going to have to be effort or willingness, whatever you want to say there, but it's also going to have to be like knowing your role and knowing what the hell you're doing. Too often have I seen, Ewan just look completely lost under the goal. Or he's late clogging up the lane, like he's late stepping to where he should be, or he's late trying to box a guy out. And it's not just the bigs. I'm glad Cal pointed this out. It's also the guards. The guards, what'd they have amongst them all? Was it one? Did I hear them say it was 1 rebound? Was that right? Was it 1 rebound amongst all guards? That can't be right. You know what? I should probably pull that up. But it's still, the example is very clear of what the hell's going on. It's very clear that the front court is missing. In Arkansas, it's just on both ends of the floor. If they're not shooting like 48%, 47.5%, 48%, depending on the volume of shots, they're in trouble. If Acuff can't get it going, you almost feel like Acuff cannot go 0 for 4, 0 for 5, 0 for 6, whatever. You can't do that. You can't start slow. I mean, as a team, they've started slow, and maybe Acuff was just like the only guy scoring, but he was like 2 of 4 or 2 of 5. But like he cannot start off 0 for 4, 0 for 5, 0 for 6. You can't do that, man. They have to, and I can't believe they have become more and more a lean on Acuff only offensive team. Like Leak can absolutely take a game over. We've seen Brazil do it this year. We've seen Knox get hot outside. can be a great zone buster when they're knocking down threes. When they're starting off like 3 of 7 shooting from outside, and Acuff is getting to the free throw line, and he's not missing on those clean, silky smooth layups. Like, when they're feeling it, man, they are really hard to beat, and that includes how bad their defense is. It doesn't matter. Like, their offense, when they get going and they're feeling it and they're getting hot outside, good luck trying to stop Arkansas. Like, you're in for it, especially if you're playing them on a neutral floor or inside Bud Walton Arena. But you have to be able to rely. You have to be able to have, you've got to be able to trust on the as a team and what you could do on the defensive end of the floor as well. You've got to get some stops, man. Got to force some turnovers. I did see something that was promising, and I think most of this is because Kentucky on offense at times is just, God, they're hard to watch. But they, of course, against Arkansas, they looked elite. And they are playing better ball lately. And they're, despite not having all their pieces, not having a point guard, that's a big part of it. You're going to look like an absolute shit show when you don't have a point guard, or a true point guard. But one thing I did see was that they did get Kentucky down into shot clock trouble. I mean, they were forced to shoot under 5 seconds on the shot clock multiple times. I think they got 2 shot clock violations in that game, if I'm not mistaken. I did see some of that, and that was a step that was, okay, interesting, but still the rest of it was just too simple. It's like, let's put a complete game together on the defensive end of the floor, fellas. Let's figure this out. And I think when they do, I think when they at least step it up on defense, and maybe they when they step it up in the effort department, maybe the rest of it will follow. They just don't look like, A, they want to play defense, and B, like they know how to play defense. And that's weird because we all know they can play defense. I mean, some of these guys, have been playing ball for a little bit when you're talking about guys like Pringle and Ewan, and Knox is now in his second year. DJ Wagner's been around for a little bit. With Cal, like, we know they know how to play defense. It's just, I don't know, playing defense last year with that unit versus what they have this year as a team. I don't know. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to play defense as a team. And again, I agree that the willingness or the effort isn't there, but I'm also seeing the other part of it, which is the, being in the right spot at the right time, clogging lanes, being better at the rim, better rim defense. If there's ever been a team that needed J-Dub, oh my God, this is it. Like, this team, you feel like they're a J-Dub away from being a legit Final Four contender, and they don't have that on either end of the freaking floor. I realize taking charges are a little bit different these days, but they're missing someone with that level, that physicality, that size. The willingness to take the damage, on the deck, and he was that guy. You're not seeing that with anybody else. And this is a team that needs J-Dub big time, y'all. I mean, it just does. And you don't have or an Adu. You could talk about Jonas Adu. They don't have that waiting in the wings somewhere. Like, you're waiting on someone to get healthy and come in, and that's not there. You have who you have, and you're going to have to figure this out. Right now, I'm sticking with if the tournament was tomorrow, and of course, I want to make this clear, I understand that who you play matters, the bracket matters, all that matters. But I'm going to say it again, they are the most one-and-done team. They're the best one-and-done team I've ever seen play in an Arkansas jersey. But they because the defense is just absolute shit, I don't think they're going to go very far. Now, they've got time to fix this. They got time to maybe, and I know that's something you kind of scoff at right now and get a little cynical about. I understand that. But someone, like, they're going to have to figure this out, and I think there is time to do so. You got a week off here. Let's figure it out. And maybe it's the lack of play. Kentucky played desperate. Kentucky lately has played desperate, and they're winning games. I don't know. Maybe Arkansas should start playing desperate. Maybe you should play like they lit a match under your ass and you need to win games. You can't afford to lose 2 of the next 3. Hell, I would argue you can't afford to lose a single one. You need to go 3-0. I don't have the confidence that they will right now. In fact, I would probably put them at 2-1 over the next 3. They're definitely better than everybody ahead of them as far as those three teams, despite what Auburn did to you last time when you played them at your house or at their house. But they need to play desperate. That's what they need to do. If that's what it takes, if Kentucky can play desperate because they were the more desperate team. Hell, last year when you played them, despite already having an SEC victory, you needed to win that game inside Rupp Arena, and you were desperate, and you won that game. So maybe moving forward, Arkansas, you play a little more desperate. Be smart about it, but you play just a little bit more desperate. Maybe that's the fix. Maybe this is how we light the fires and kick the tires, Big Daddy, and let's get this thing going. Maybe that's what this is. And maybe that's what they need to do. They haven't done that. They haven't shown that lately, and that's what they need to do. I hope they care. I hope, and I think someone like Acuff does. I think someone like Leak does. Okay? I hope every one of those guys, to hell with the kind of money you're making, to hell with your NIL deal. I want to win. I can't stand losing. I want to win. I'm not losing to these three chuds over these next three. I'm not losing to these sons of bitches. We're going to make up for what we did against Kentucky, or what we didn't do against Kentucky, and we're going to play like our basketball lives depend on it. Who cares about the money? I want to win. That's what we need on the floor. We need winners on the floor, man. We need guys that want to win. They want to do what it takes to get better to win these games. Remain coachable. Listen to Cal. I think he knows what he's talking about. I realize there's a lot of skepticism, and Kentucky fans are going, ha, we told you, despite the fact that we went into Rupp last year, beat them, and went as far as they did in the NCAA tournament. Sweet 16, mind you. I don't think his best days are completely behind him. I don't think that's the case. So listen to Cal, stay coachable, and have that drive. Dig deep down inside and find a way, man. Find a way. Play desperate. Be smart about it, but play desperate. I don't want to see any more of what I saw against Kentucky. That pissed me off, and I hope that pisses them off too. I have no doubt. I have no doubt that Acuff and Leak, and maybe I think even Brazil. I think some of those guys do. They want to win. They don't like losing. That's why Brazil acts out the way that he does. And I kind of appreciate it. Got to be smarter, but I kind of appreciate it. He sticks up for his teammates. You can tell he does not like losing. I love that, dude. Oh, I love that. Pump that John Gruden want to win, to not get your ass kicked on the floor / field. Inject that into my veins, dude. Do not accept what happened against Kentucky. Don't accept that. That was inexcusable. Play desperate from here on out. Just saying. I don't ever want to see that again. Ever. All right, I'll get back to chat. Cal needs to find a way to get Knox going. Yeah, you're not wrong. Knox is, I don't know what the hell's going on. Billy needs to give TED Talk to the team on energy and effort. Billy does play hard. Again, it's not like they don't have guys that want. I know they do. I just, sometimes you wonder, is there something else? Like, I'm already paid. I'm just here. I'm going to go through the motions. Pringle looks lost. I don't know. Like, sometimes I wonder about Ewan. Like, does he want to win these games or not? How many of the next 3 games will Arkansas? Oh, it's supposed to be W-I-N. I can't believe I was in a hurry. Son of a bitch. I just saw that. I even read it earlier and I completely missed it. Yeah, I can't edit that. It's supposed to be W-I-N. Oh, my God. I can't believe I did that. I was in a hurry typing, and I might have gotten auto-corrected, and I just didn't see it. So, yeah, that's W-I-N. How many of the next 3 games will Arkansas win? 38% of you say all 3. 38% of you said all 3. 36% of you are at 2, 17% are at 1, and 8% are at 0. Made me laugh, Ty. That was just Tyler Eulis should put on a jersey at this point. He should have some eligibility left, right? I mean, I think they're giving these guys, they're letting them do whatever the hell they want. I mean, who cares? Texan says liked, we'll catch replay for what I missed. Hey, I appreciate you, Texan. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you sharing the content. I really do. Again, make sure you guys are sharing on Twitter, or X, I'm sorry, the Tuss Talk. That helps out a ton. The more you interact, Woo Pig Dustino. I see you. I already gave you a shout out. One's enough. He's probably not in here. Yeah, there are. You could point at Carter Knox, DJ Wagner, like Tim pointed out in the 30-minute post game that we did. I don't know where these guys are going, man. I don't know where they're going. The XP for tonight, it's answering the poll, but just doing it in the comment section after the live. So again, it is the poll. How many of the next 3 games will Arkansas WIN? God, I'm going to end this poll. I can't believe that was. We're going to end that. That's embarrassing. I cannot believe I let that slide. I appreciate everyone for taking the poll, but that is the question, the post live comment, the question for the post live comment section, and it's going to be worth quite a bit. We're going to give it 10,000 XP, 10K. Our flagrant free throws, flagrant free throw attempts were big stinky whiffs. God, air ball. I mean, what are we doing, man? They really sucked at the free throw line, and we even lost a few rebounds off Kentucky misses at the free throw. I stand by what I said on Saturday in the post game. I don't care what Kentucky fans say. I've had a lot of them come through. I say a lot, several, not a lot, that are telling me that I had this coming because I gloated a year ago when Arkansas went to Rupp. I first off, let me point this out. I completely stand by what I said on the post game. I would like to see a rematch with these guys on a neutral floor, which would be the SEC tournament. If you luck out and get them, I want them. I want a rematch. I'm not suggesting Arkansas would win it based on the way they played at home. They probably would go 0-2 against Kentucky this year if they play anything like what they're playing right now by the time they play in the SEC tournament. But I want a clean game without a certain official officiating that damn game. Again, those were, some of those were big helps for Arkansas, but those that felt like it froze the game. The officials made that game about them. Now, I agree they had to do something because it looked like this thing was going to get out of hand. But like Tim and I said in that postgame, when it gets to that level where you have 6 technicals, you've already lost the game as an official. And you've now allowed that to destroy the rhythm of the game. You've now taken it over. Nobody can get in any kind of rhythm. Nobody can get back to what they were doing before these technicals were being tossed around. And yeah, Kentucky was leading a lot of the game before that. I just wonder what this game would have looked like without any technicals. And I understand sometimes you have to tee a guy up. I get it. But we also saw a couple I thought unnecessary techs. And I also think sometimes you can pull a guy aside and talk to him. You can pull the coaches aside and talk to him. It just completely destroyed the rhythm of that game. Nobody could get in any kind of rhythm. And it didn't feel like a clean game. I hope they get a rematch against Kentucky in the SEC tournament. And I want to see what that would turn, and it would be even more fair because it'd be on a neutral floor. I just like to see that game play out. That's all I'm asking. I don't think the way Arkansas played or the way they're playing right now that they would win a rematch. I don't. And the crazy thing is like as Kentucky is right now with who they have available, Arkansas is the better roster. They're the better team. Even with as bad as they played on defense, if you've watched Kentucky lately, even though they're winning, I get it, they still it is there's a reason why Kentucky fans were fuming. Like Pope and that team just looked discombobulated. Doug shows, threw a tech on Ty. He did. He just texted me. He said, that's a technical. He just teed me up. You're right, Texan. He got me. If we had a ref crew that wasn't making up bad calls, a lot of those were makeup calls. There are a lot of makeup calls in that game. Some of the calls very late, yes, and in the game, defended Arkansas's best asset, which is the points in transition fast break. That is exactly right, Cody Buckner. That's who they are. And to be fair, Kentucky was doing a good job in transition defense. They were getting back quick. But I completely agree. It destroyed their best asset, which is up and down ball. And Kentucky's a really good fast break offense too. That's why I'm saying it felt like the officials just got in the middle of that and ruined it. Ruined what could have been a even better basketball game. I lost count of how many shows you suck chant. Oh, broke. Yeah. It was nearly. Yeah, you were at the game, Brady. That's right. D Fryer 86 says that was just a game they weren't much into, and Kentucky wanted their get back from last year. It happens. I think it's a little more complicated than that, though. Fryer, I think I agree that they wanted their get back, but it was a show of desperation for where they're at in the year. They needed this win, and now it puts them. I mean, a loss here is the difference between where they could have been and where they're at now, right? In terms of just when they're win-loss in SEC play. This is a game they had to win, and now they're riding a wave of momentum. It's a big game for them, big win. But you're not wrong in that they wanted their get back. You're not wrong about that. They made some bad calls against Kentucky, then started calling for Arkansas a lot of touchy fouls. Yeah. Also thought it was a pretty iffy choice for the students to choose Owe as the guy to boo. Yeah. Yeah, and Arkansas already struggles against those kind of players, right? The guys that are going to get theirs, the guys that are going to get their points, they struggle against those guys. The guys that can actually score, they can't stop those guys. And booing someone like that, good luck. He's going to take that and he's going to run with it. That's exactly what he did. D. Fryer says, hit that like. That's right, baby. Hit the like button. Appreciate you. We got a little bit of time here. I debated doing this on StreamYard, making it a call-in, but decided not to. I am without Tim. Tim's got some family stuff going on tonight. He's hanging out with the family. Don't know what the Wednesday show is going to look like. Remember, there's no post-game this week because there is no game. So there's at least one more live planned for the week, and that'll probably be the Wednesday show. I appreciate everyone for being here. Make sure you're sharing the content, please. He's been a bit down this year, but you almost never want to antagonize a team's best player. He's had a few good games this year though too. Heck, if we had Darren Peterson, at least we'd get half a game, says Matt Croc 63. Arkansas has been playing with their food lately, and it finally caught up with them, says Bobby G Mac. I don't know how to take that. I mean, I know what you're saying. I just don't think they're good enough. I don't know that it's them playing with their food. And maybe you're right. They are better than what we've seen, even on defense. I should say even. That's really the only real big issue here is the defense. But we've seen them play better defense. We've seen them do a better job defensively, up and near around the post and closer to the rim. We have seen them play decent rim defense this year. We've seen them get mismatches inside and get in position, time their jumps where they're actually getting blocks. We saw Brazil do that against Kentucky. We have. It's just it feels less common, and it's gotten to a point like I brought up earlier. How often do you see them get 3 straight defensive possessions where the opposing team comes away with no points? Whether that's because of a forced turnover or even a bad pass from the offense, right? From their offense, from the opponent's offense, or a block or something. How often, or just getting a stop at the rim, or getting an offensive whatever, or a clean defensive rebound. How often do you see 3 consecutive stops? Is what I'm saying. Not just 3. Of course, they get 3 stops in a game. 3 consecutive stops. How often do you see them do that? And I maybe we need to keep count. Maybe that ought to be a prediction. Can they get 3 consecutive defensive stops? Uh-oh, YouTube page just blacked out on me. There we go. It just feels so rare. Far and few in between, What's up, Gary Davis? How you doing, man? Hope you're swell. Sometimes this camera starts to, what are you doing? Puts me all the way down here. I don't know. Brian Barton says sometimes shots aren't falling, and they weren't against Kentucky. And that's also fair, but offense had its issues against Kentucky. Kentucky did a good job adjusting. Again, it's Pope's best win. It's Pope's best win. And again, he knew he had to come in here and win that game. And those players won it for him. They were tougher. Like Cal said, they were more physical. You just wish it wasn't Kentucky. Hogs need to be working on defensive free throws all week. Effort. Won it, Razorbacks, says Brian Barton. Yeah. I agree. Effort, energy, desperation. Play with all of it, man. No quarters, right? Ty, you could count you could count that on one hand as far as defensive stops, says Mark Rock 63. Yeah, I don't know. What game? It slipped my mind. There was a game where hold on. Was it Oklahoma where they got that swat at the end? And Oklahoma was trying to drive, or was that LSU? I think it was one of those two games. They got a nice clean swat at the rim, and that ended the game, or that basically ended the game. It didn't end the game off that play, but I feel like that was either Oklahoma or LSU. I can't believe I'm blending like two or three games in my head at once, but I like that we have those moments in us. But I just want to see. I'm not looking for just the moment. I'm looking for consistency on defense. So, did we cover all of our topics tonight? Did we get them? Did we knock them all out? I have left a couple on the board before because we just kind of get into the weeds. I was going to talk about Post Malone and Jelly Roll. I don't know if that actually made the board. I don't think it did. It didn't make the board tonight, but yeah, Jelly Roll and Post Malone. When is this happening? Saturday, July 11th, 4 days before my birthday. Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium. Is that what we're calling it? Get tickets next Tuesday. It's Post Malone, Jelly Roll, and then Carter Faith. So you'll get some money off this. I don't know what your profit will be, but you'll get a little bit of money on this. You guys plan on going to that? Anyone going? People are starting to pile out, but we got to make it. We got to make it another 8 minutes. Megan, are you flying down to watch to listen to Jelly Roll and Post Malone? Dude, I like Post Malone. I like his old stuff. I like Post Malone's old stuff. His he had Ozzy, and I know he did that tribute to Ozzy the other night, but he had Ozzy on his not last album, the album before the last, I think. Really good. I like it, man. I dig it. I don't know. Maybe I might, if I could get some standing up tickets, I might go. You should try to get some temporary tattoos and see if you can get backstage. Yeah, I appreciate that, Mike. I'm fat and I'm bearded, so therefore I am Jelly Roll. Yeah, we've had stretches and even halves of good defense, but no full games besides maybe Vandy. Yeah. No, I again, it is consistency, Brady, and we don't see three consecutive stops very often, if ever. There's just a real big lack of consistency. Playing one half of defense is just half of a bad defensive game, or one half of good defense is just a half of a bad game on defense. Yeah, they got a lot they got to fix. Hopefully they get it figured out. Not me from Paragould, Arkansas. Well, I mean, what, Mark? I mean, how far is Paragould from here? How far is Paragould? Hold up. Is that far? I know it's at least 150. Oh, okay. Well, from my location, it's a near 5-hour drive. Damn. Okay. Well, all right. You're excluded. Yeah, I know it's over there in East Arkansas. Damn, it's the northeast part of Arkansas. Okay. Yeah, you're northeast of Jonesboro. Goodness. How far is that from Piggott? Yeah, there's Piggott. I got a friend of mine that lives in Piggott. Shout out to Drew Wolverton. Yeah, man. I knew it was in East. I didn't realize how far that was. All right, well, you are excused, sir. You're excused from class. Holy crap. I didn't realize it was 5 hours. Oh, that sucks. No, I don't know. Maybe you're not a big Post Malone guy or Jelly Roll. That's why we need games in Little Rock to cater to the entire state. Boo! No. Gotta get out of Little Rock. There's my NWA elitism coming through, I guess. But gotta get out of Little Rock. Sorry, Brady. We're not gonna agree on that. Lots of pressure on the freshman duo to do most of everything. God, Texan. I wasn't expecting facts this late in the show. Set the tone, score, show up every game. Shout out to Billy for his consistency. Billy is a ball of energy. I've heard of Paragold, says Megan. Yeah, it's way over there. Oh, okay, Ty. You expect me to fly for a concert, but don't bully a guy from Paragold. I'm not bullying someone from Paragold. Dude, East Arkansas is gorgeous. Northeast Arkansas, driven through there a couple times. It's gorgeous. My wife and I are actually, because we're about to celebrate our 20th anniversary. Yeah, 20 years. Can you believe that? We're going to, oh, man, what is the name of that place? Oh, crap. I booked us. We're staying. I can already hear someone raging because I'm not talking about sports right now. Wasted my time. I didn't even post this on Facebook. I didn't post a single link on Facebook, so I don't have to worry about well, I did on Tuss Talk Facebook, but where the hell am I staying at? Is my wife in chat? Sarah, where are we staying at? I have it booked. But it's over there kind of not East Arkansas, but it's not near Walnut Ridge. Anyways, we're staying over there somewhere, and it's like a real pretty little lake house there. Is it by Bay Village? No? Well, now I can't find it. We're staying over there for our 20th anniversary. So we'll be on that. We'll be in that part of the state for a couple nights. Looking forward to it. Said no one ever. It's near Mountain Home, but it's not. I don't think it is. Man, see, now y'all are going to have me searching. I don't want to waste. I almost want to text my wife. Okay, come here real quick. Where are we staying at? Oh, it's going to kill me, man. I was talking to Austin about it. Austin knows where it's at. He's, of course, not in here, but anyways, I'm not going to waste time looking it up. But we're going to be staying over there, and I can't wait. It's going to be exciting in May. So we'll get a couple nights. Going to just hang out. No, it's not on the Buffalo River. But I've floated the Buffalo a couple times. It's pretty. What do you think about basketball games in Little Rock? No, I'm good with a basketball game down there, and I'm fine with a baseball with a series down there. If you want to do a couple of midweek games, not a whole weekend, but yeah, I'm fine with that. Football game, no. Money and resources need to stay as close to the university as humanly possible. Need the rest of the Razorbacks to get some of the Billy Goat. Yeah, get the energy injected in them. I agree, Brian. I agree wholeheartedly. Congrats on your 20th anniversary. Thank you, Kelly Williams. Thanks, man. Yeah, 20 years. We got a couple of kiddos, 13-year-old, well, 2 daughters, 13 and 11. Proud of them both. It's been quite the journey. It's been a lot of fun along the way. She puts up with a lot. Her husband in here smoking cigars, drinking rum and Coke and drinking rum and Coke, not drinking rum, Coke. You know what I'm saying? I'm not into the drugs. Wasn't expecting to hear my hometown to be shouted out on here. Oh, which one's your hometown? Who did I shout out? Are you Jonesboro? I know people they like to hear their towns shouted out on here. Did I say Forest City? Lake Norfolk. Is that it? Is that where we're staying? It's got a really nice cabin on it. I don't know. Anyways, a mountain home. Oh, okay. Yeah. Mountain home. There it is. All right, everybody. Well, we had to drag across the final few minutes there, but I do appreciate everyone. Remember to like the show, share the content, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out Patreon. It helps the channel like you wouldn't believe, man. Keeps us all going. Bless you both. 20 years, not common these days. No, it is not. We got married young. I was 22, and she was 20. We were young when we got married. Now we're in our, I'm 42, and time flies, man. Time flies. It goes by too quick. Yeah. More impressive. More than one date is impressive to me, let alone 20 years. All right. Okay. Well, that is it. I appreciate everyone. I will. We'll be back. I'm planning on Wednesday night. This could be because we don't have a game this week. We might push it to Thursday. I'm not really sure yet, but as long as I can get one of these guys available for Wednesday night, we'll be live. I might try and reach out to a guest, see if we can get some folks in here, get a little panel going, talk about get back onto some Arkansas football, maybe get into the recruiting. Talk a little more football recruiting, because I'm telling you, that's something we need to keep an eye on. If they've got more money, and of course I know there's only so much you could do when it comes to high school. Typically when you talk about the money, you're talking about the portal. But if you are that more appealing with this new coaching staff, then hopefully, we'll find out. We're going to get a pretty good idea of what's going on. You got, I know we've got a dead period, but you got to look at the official visits. You got to see how things span out between here and spring camp in terms of, who they're, it's all relevant, right? Like who the coaches are offering and who they're getting to visit when that window opens, in June, unless that window changed. Did they change that? Could you still bring them on OVs in June? Did they change that and I missed it? But that's usually something you want to keep an eye on, right? So I'm always excited about all this, especially when we're talking sports. I love it. That's why I do what I do, and I've done it for not 10 years, but I've done it consecutively for 7. Yeah. Started the channel 10 years ago, really went into it in like 2018. But technically this is 10 years that this channel has existed. So I appreciate each and every one of you who've come along for this journey, right? And I will see you guys hopefully on Wednesday night. Just remember to hit the notification bell. That way as soon as I go live, you get hit. Hopefully, God willing, with the YouTube gods are willing, you get hit with that notification. All right? I'll see you guys at some point this week. Be good.